I'm Representative Justin Chenette of House District 134, part of SACA, with this legislative update. There's been a lot that's been going on up in Augusta, and I just want to bring a few points to your attention. There are two bills in particular that have to do with education. Now, my charter school bill would have allowed individual municipalities and school districts to vote whether or not they want to allow public monies to be allocated to a particular charter school in the future of that particular municipality or school district. So again, adding just a final step in a very long process to approve a public charter school. This bill ended up failing in committee, not necessarily because the idea was not good, not because there weren't members of the committee that liked the idea, but because the committee felt like it was more important to change the funding mechanism regarding public charter schools rather than just allowing individuals to vote whether or not they wanted it. I'm of the belief that we need to be having more public participation in the process, because if we're allowed to vote on school budgets at the ballot box, we should also be allowed to dictate where those monies are going in reference to the educational paradigm. So either a public school that we're used to or a public school that changes how we do business. So would not be suggesting that charter schools are not a good thing. I just think including the public input about where your tax money is going is always a better route to take. So that failed in committee, and that will fail on the House floor as a result of that. My second education bill has to do with community service and internships. My bill would mandate that every high school student, in order to obtain a high school diploma, would be required to do some level of community service. But I specifically left the bill very open-ended so that individual school districts, and specifically individual high schools, can determine the best route for implementation. So, for instance, Thornton Academy or Old Orchard Beach High School or Biddeford High School could determine by themselves what that requirement could be. That could mean a science class doing a class project out by the park and cleaning it up for a half an hour, and that would be constituting their legal requirement to do community service to get their diploma over a 4-year period of time. So this could mean a very small project, or it could mean like what they do in Freeport in reference to a 40-hour requirement. It could mean what they do in Brunswick with like a 30-hour community service requirement. So there's different requirements already implemented across the state. This would just bring a level of continuity to the community service requirement to say that everybody would be responsible for something. And what that something is left to the locals to determine how to best implement that. So emphasizing local control, but the benefits of including community service within the curriculum, within your school environment, are amazing. You know, I did community service when I was in high school. I was not required to do it, but through a number of organizations, I volunteered over at the soup kitchen, organized different events for different charities. You know, these sorts of things, you gather a lot of different skill sets that you may not in a typical classroom environment. So you might be gaining teamwork, leadership, communication skill sets. All of these things are critically important, and not everybody learns best in a classroom lecture environment. So this opens up the educational paradigm a little bit and says, you know what, let's learn in a different medium and maybe learn different skill sets and apply some of the things we're learning in the classroom to real-world hands-on learning. And on top of that, community service could mean an internship. And so I actually had the Education Committee kill my internship bill in order to include that within the community service requirement. So students could, by working with their guidance counselors and individual schools with the business community, to determine a successful internship program for them so that they can figure out what they want to do for the rest of their lives, because that is what is so critical, if they have the skill sets necessary to compete in this global economy. So there's a lot more that's happening in Augusta, but that is just a brief overview of some of the bills that I'm working on and my colleagues are working on. It's a busy environment, and I hope to keep you updated every step of the way. If you want to follow updates online, you can visit my website at justinchenette.com or on Facebook, or you could tweet me or email me, or also, of course, follow updates right here at the shuttle bus. I'm Representative Justin Chenette of House District 134, part of SACO, and stay tuned and stay connected.